But still, should be pretty much fine. And looking at the gods so far, Sensui is gonna play Oranos. That's kinda expected as it's his main. And Titu is going to be, of course, Oranos as well. Temista is most probably going to be sticking with Odin. Whereas Magic is so far sticking with Isis. I'll be maybe thinking that he will switch into Set as a more aggressive god. And Earth is Loki. That seems like to be sticking. A bit of an interesting choice, to be honest, as he is most known for Zeus or some Egyptians, mainly Egyptians. And well, he is of course going to be joining in as he's replacing KeeN, who was having a pretty tough game with 0 TCs for quite a long time, defending against 3 TC Metallo. And even though that was the case, he was still able to defend quite nicely before the help came from his teammates Titu and Temista. And then when the help came, that was exactly what he needed to get back on his feet. Metallo so far sticking with Hades. Kinda halfway thinking that's going to change. Magic changing into Zeus. That makes a whole lot more sense on Frozen Wastes than Egi. And right now we are just waiting for Metallo to switch. I don't really expect that Hades would be the best choice in here, but still, he's not bad. With all the archers, he's going to be a pretty nice counterplay to basically everything, especially to Loki. And maybe even Odin's Ulfsarks, if Temista is gonna go for that, which he probably will. But well, we're going to see about that in just a few minutes, once the players start their game. So if the first two games are any kind of benchmark of what we should be expecting, in this game, well, it's definitely going to be yet another memorable one, as the first two were absolutely awesome. And Frozen Wastes is a map that definitely invites very interesting games. And let's start with game number 3 of the grand finals of RTS League's Age of Mythology, the Titans Clan League Season 27. Are we going to see the champions after this game? We'll see. It's all up to JSS to take the crown, or for KeeNs to start turning this match around. And we are seeing that they are sticking with Hades and Zeus and Loki. Whereas JSS are, well, with the aggressive gods in here, as they are still as Loki, Odin, and Oranos. I'll be slightly favoring, of course, JSS in here, as they are having the gods that are most suited for this kind of map. But at the same time, the Greeks are not really bad on any kind of map at all. And if you play them correctly, you could definitely be using their strengths to make your opponents pay for their choices. So let's see if that's going to be happening. So we are starting with Hunt, as Titu is dropping, of course, Economy Guild for his hunting dogs. Otherwise, in the pocket, we have Earth as a Loki. I kind of think that's not really ideal. I would be a bit more liking if actually Temista was in the pocket, so that he was having a bit more room for his faster mythic and whatnot. But at least we are going to be seeing a lot of action from him, as overall there is the first relic, which is for villagers kill animals in single shot. Yeah, that kinda sucks on this map, especially since there is no set to be seen on this map between those two clans. Otherwise, nice position of the Hunt, of course, in the front for Temista. Pretty good tower positions as well, as they are kinda halfway guarding the way inside his base, so it should be making it easier for him to potentially wall, even though it's not like actually Temista does that all that much, as he's usually the one aggressively playing, but the gold next to the tower is pretty nice for him. And he has already gathered quite a lot of goats, and is using them for a bit of scouting together with the Ulfsark. So he has already built second Ulfsark right next to his Krayling, who is in the forward. There are some extra relics for better Archer Ballista, Care Ballista, Pierce Attack, that's a nice one. Better building hit points, that's a pretty cool one. On the left between the two golds, nicely positioned in here. Better town center population slots, Eye of Horus. Oh man, and it's closer to Titu. And if he's able to see that, I think that he has actually already discovered it through this oracle. That's going to be a pretty big fight for this, because this is a very important one, as the extra population is of course making a whole lot of difference in the fights, not only in the later game. So better wall hit points, 20%, as Temista is going for... Oh, that's a lot of goats. Oh man. Yeah, so right now he can basically afford to lose all kinds of Hunt, because he doesn't really have all that much of it in the first place, just a polar bear, and that's pretty much it, just some Walrus. Walruses, damn it, always have problems with this name. Well, a lot of Hunt in the forefront in here, but it's also very close by to Sensui, so this is going to be a very nice matchup between Temista and Sensui. And who is going to come up victorious? Well, it's up to anyone's guess, and you can guess in the chat between yourselves who is going to be winning this very interesting fight. Really, this is so much goats. So many goats in there. In the pocket we have Metallo as Hades, which I think is the best kind of spawn for KeeNs, as he's definitely most suited for booming and is known for his pocket play. As if he's not disrupted all that much, he's quite strong and can basically establish himself to be a total beast in the late game. Well, you can see that Magic is already dropping a temple, having a nice hunt at the very back, but otherwise, where is his hunt? Just the berries, as he's finishing with the Caribous in the front. That's pretty much it seems like. Not, well, literally nothing else. Yeah, we have seen this Trojan Gate relic, but since this map is quite open on the outside, as you can see, if you don't know this map, it's basically signalized, or rather, signified by the ice on the outskirts, and it's basically inverted Ghost Lake, we could be saying. And it's very hard to wall and very easy to raid on. So temple finished with T2. It's nicely positioning the goats all around, and Prometheus clicking in with 3. So that's going to be like 431 advance, 430 already in for Earth as well. And for on the right side, we can see that the Mista is taking a bit of extra time. And is he going for some extra researches or not? So far he isn't. He seems to be pretty much okay and quite confident that he can go for this hunt in the forefront against his opponents and Sui. So Freya going to be kinda late advance, 450. Whereas his opponent is going to be advancing 425, something like that. So potentially will be forced off the hunt very soon. As you can see that already Sensui is moving for the same hunt. And, well, also moving with Björn, Woman Washer, into a bit of attack. But I don't think he has enough line of sight to see this. Oh yeah, he did. I think just. And this is nicely positioned Spy, of course, as we have also seen a bit earlier. Spy on the gold for Sensui, and this is basically signaling that Temista is a bit more interested in the later game. He's expecting that this is going to take a bit longer than the early fight. A bit of an underestimation here, definitely, by Temista. And thinking that the gold is going to be where the map is going to be decided and not the early hunt. So yep, this is a difference in the approach, and let's see if Temista is going to be correct or Sensui. 70% into Athena from Metallo, also pretty late advance. So how many upgrades is he gonna be having? Already pickaxe. Would be expecting hand axe as well. Exactly right now coming in. And from Magic, who has advanced, also pretty nice pickaxe and hand axe, and pretty decent advance time from him at 5 minutes. So that's pretty much a standard build. And is this going to result in some kind of Athena rush? To be honest, it's actually looking like that so far. He's going for a military academy. Continuing with the hunt, of course. And are we seeing something interesting from Metallo? So far not, he's just having one brain, so that's going to be some extra Minotaurs for him. He's moving very far away. Oh, like really far away, so what is it going to be? Archer range, stable. Okay, so that's going to be very aggressive build up from KeeNs, who are going to be trying to close the game before it even begins. And they might be even successful in that, because of course Sensui, we have seen, he has advanced like a half a minute earlier than Temista, and that will mean that Temista will be forced into heavy defensive, doesn't have pickaxe and ducks. Well, yeah, doesn't really need that, but where else to put it if he doesn't need it? And of course, we are going to check on Sensui, who is having at least pickaxe, so should be having a bit better economy than his opponent. Earth in the meantime is already having pretty decent amount of Hersiers. Astral Eater is just having a bit of fun with Walrus in here, not even killing it in the end. And well, there's of course going to be a bit of raiding already going on from T2 on the left, as he's having decent army from the very fast advance as opposed to the opponents. But really, JSS should be super careful, because the later advances should be telling them that KeeNs will be having a very strong economies, much stronger than JSS. And with them being actually double Greeks, one of them being Hades with very strong archers, which can basically kill even counter units like the Turmas. And of course having 2 restorations. This is going to be a very interesting game. Very interesting game, as the fights should be taking place very soon. And well, this was nicely used Bolt to get rid of the hero Murmillo, who was of course a bit of a problem in here. So T2 forced off hunt, the same as we have seen actually Temista forced off the hunt in here, as Sensui is trying to locate something to kill. Unfortunately, not really going to be successful. And at the same time, there's a whole lot of raiding going on from Earth in the middle, trying to get rid of the villagers on the hunt, and also at the very back with a bit of forest fire, as Temista's lone Ulfsar is forcing, oh man, sentinels already. That's a bit of an overreaction by Metallo, because he was expecting there's going to be a bit more attack than just one Ulfsar, I'm fairly certain. But so far not really true, and let's see if he won't be actually ruin this kind of use of the sentinel. Maybe it wouldn't be a bit better used somewhere else a bit later, on some kind of front TC or anything. So first restoration, as Earth with T2 are trying to fight against Metallo and Magic. And of course this means a bit of an advantage for KeeN, but I'm not really thinking that this restoration was all that great, because it didn't really buy them anything. There was a whole lot of room and opportunity for T2 to retreat, which he definitely did. So yeah, it would have been better waited for the TC, but still they have one extra, and if they can amass some extra army, I'm not really liking those. I'm not really liking the Hippicons from the Hades, to be honest. You can see that he's housed. Not really ideal. I would be much better liking all those stock swords, and oh well. This is going to delay them. This is going to delay KeeN's quite nicely. Or quite nicely. Quite suckily for them, of course, because this was a very gutsy idea from them, and it could still work. It definitely could work, especially with right now coordination with Sensui. Oh, are you leaving them be? That's a shame, isn't it? Definitely could have had a whack or two at them, but he didn't. And that means that they are going to be joining basically on one opponent, and that should be T2, because he's Atlantean, and that means that he has the weakest town center, just 2100 hit points. And if they can kill him, they could then easily steamroll onto pocket in here, and yeah, that wouldn't be really the worst course of action. Very nice reaction by T2, who is switching into Carry Ballistas, as he's seen quite a lot of infantry from both Sensui and also Magic. And if he can keep it alive and increase the numbers of that, the positioned Longhouse to help a bit faster, as we are also seeing upgrade into medium infantry 42. This could be exactly the tool that him the game, and he should definitely be investing into towers. Where are the rest? Oh yeah, he is at the bottom, because there is going to be a very important fight going on pretty soon in here. Unfortunately, this tower is probably gonna die sooner than it will be researched, but so far this is really aiming into yet another restoration. Oh, why? Oh, this was horrible. This was absolutely horrible misclick. I'm pretty sure this was misclicked, because the army from KeeN's was pretty strong, and he definitely needed to wait when he was under the fire of the TC and all the hoplites were just attacking the TC. Then the restoration could have worked, and oh man, I'm slightly worried for KeeN's that might have been a throw in there, because that was the way they could have taken the TC down, but right now, without the god powers, I'm fairly certain they cannot really do that. We can see that Sensui is right now through Bragi, but at the same time he has absolutely zero army, and with all the armies in here being concentrated from both clans, both KeeN's and JSS, this is going to be a very big fight without any god powers, unless somebody from JSS is gonna advance into the next age, because KeeN's shouldn't be. When you are actually Athena Russian, classically with Greek, you are just investing a lot of economy. Not into economy and the military, so you don't really have the resources. Then it's time to study exactly. Earth so far not, but he's thinking about it as he's building armory. And let's see if we are going to be confirmed right. So far with Hades we are, and Magic is also not going anywhere, but he is going for a second TC, as he's recognizing that the game has switched into a bit different gear, as it's not going to be all about the early aggression at all, as we are entering the mid game. Yep, so right now it's going to be a bit of an attempt, I think, by JSS to stabilize the situation. Second TC has been already captured by Temista, and I'm thinking that second is going to be taken by T2, and I wouldn't be surprised if by Earth as well. He seems to be aiming to the back, so already, I think, ready for that. And should be advancing into Bragi. Just about now, kicking in. So yeah, that's exactly very nicely timed. But still the army is pretty strong, with medium already being in. Pretty nice upgrades. Not really on purpose, but on hoplites. It's very important. But with the Carry Ballistas growing in numbers, it's of course not really ideal to fight against this without any kind of supporting fire from, for example, the Hades, who is using at least the Hippicons to go for a bit of raiding, just normals, not really mediums. Where are the military buildings? In here. Not even researching that. And not even into Doxos, that's kind of weird. And well, let's see, as there is going to be a bit of raiding by Earth, who is definitely doing a good job in the mid game. And same could be said about Temista, who is at the top, also attempting to do something like that. But it seems like more like trying to build some kind of back build and surprising on their opponents, basically just checking what's happening all around the map. But otherwise, they should be moving somewhere else, because this is heavily ineffective, especially with the Ox cards being so close to this gold. Oh well, that's not really good. That's not really good at all, as Earth is trying to find something to kill, and that something will be probably gold willies. At the bottom, you can see that Magic is already recognizing problem is coming. He's moving well ahead of time, but he's also thinking that Magic might be advancing to the next age, but he's actually sorely wrong. He was trying to actually kill the temple so that he wouldn't get the extra mythic unit, and well, Temista going to be finishing with extra TC, and well, a lot of Wolfies coming into the play in here, and we are quite sure to be seeing a lot of Fenris Wolfies from Sensui pretty soon, so let's see if he's going to be effective with that. Balder for Temista, quite soon. How many actual villages does he have? 51. Yeah, definitely wants to boom a bit more. But so far the raiding is pretty successful by KeeNs, as they are forcing their opponents to retreat from where they are gathering, and that will mean that the economies are not going to be getting all that stronger as they might be hoping. So far, already see the first Fenris Wolf coming in. And another Fenris Wolf coming in so far in here as well. So Temista is going for a very fast Ragnarok, 53 villagers. And we are at 30 minutes, so let's see if he's going to be successful with that. I'm not entirely certain. But since his opponent, Sensui, was advancing pretty fast as well, and he doesn't have Ragnarok, that should result in basically bad economy for Sensui, who is also at still 1 TC, even though he's attempting to build a second, going to be finishing pretty soon. Much more importantly, he shouldn't be having really the economy to fight against this, and once he loses his army, just wouldn't be having resources for anything extra. So yeah, let's see. This should be pretty deadly for Sensui, whereas on the left there's not much happening, as Tito, together with Earth, are just waiting for the correct moment to attack. Going to be checking if they are maybe advancing. Well, Tito should repair that sooner rather than later. They're also coming in, so are we going to be waiting for flaming weapons and they're covering it? Could be. If actually Earth is having enough army. So far, I don't really think this is enough, as Earth is going for it right now, as he's hoping that extra Wolfies are going to be helping him in fighting against all those RSs, which definitely is going to be the truth. So goodbye Sensui, and even though the 45 TC is coming up, oh, just at the nick of time, so that's going to be 600 hit points extra, and it's going to be taking a bit of extra fire in here, which is definitely not something that Temista wanted, and it's going to be allowing Sensui to get some extra mythical spawns, like this Battle Boar. But still, TC should be goodbye, even though Magic is already arriving at the Battle Sea. Let's check the upgrades. Nothing for Temista, which was kinda expected, to be honest. As yes, with this fast upgrade into the mythical age, usually don't have anything. And Earth right now going for full attack, as he is having also very nice help from the shockwave from Tito, and he is in a pretty sweet spot with his Arceus. So is he gonna get some good mythical spawns, as Magic is losing a TC in the middle as well, due to very nice attack by Tito, who is, of course, not having all that much of an opposition in here, as Magic is having his army on the right, helping Sensui, and unfortunately it's not really going to help all that much, and you can see that KeeNs are seeing exactly that, and they are resigning, and surprisingly, JSS are winning 3-0 against KeeNs, and well, we have seen some very interesting and good games in here. Very good games overall, and all of them were very worthy of the grand finals of season 27. So congratulations JSS, UK for Jesus, you are holders of the golden banner for season 27. Good job, KeeN. Great games. Yes, that's very nice to see from Magic, and he's recognizing where it actually where was it decided, and it was the better strategies, even though I wouldn't say that actually KeeN's strategies were wrong. Especially in the second game, I think their strategy was very correct, but they kind of messed up the chance to kill the Titan Gate and T2 in there. And once that happened, well, it just kind of got out of hand because Goat Lion was defending against Temista very nicely indeed. And I'm thinking that he would be able to hold on long enough, make his life difficult for long enough, if only T2 could have been eliminated in there. But well, let's check into the post game of the third game. With Temista, yeah, he was playing nicely. He was playing very nicely. He was basically at the correct places, at the correct moments, nicely ready for the Ragnarok. So yeah, he did exactly everything correct. But I also liked how T2 played against the very tough position in there, as he was facing a double for a moment from Metallo and Magic. And he was just biding his time for the correct engagements, and even forced weirdly used restorations from their opponents. Well, 42 units and just 15 killed, but he wasn't really engaging in the fights all that much. So that's the reason. He was having a lot of Epicons and running around for the villages, so yeah. Doesn't really reflect any kind of bad play or anything at all. Okay then, GG, and congratulations JSS yet again, and very good job KeeN for reaching the finals and playing very great games in here against the current champions.